All right, welcome back to another episode of the Peak Signing Agents podcast with your host, DVO, Derek Van Otten. And I have a co-host today. I have a special guest, Dale, with us from Little Valley Signings.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Welcome, Dale. People are wondering, like, wow, you guys look pretty similar. What's going on there? Well, Dale is my brother. And he owns a signing service as well. So in the earlier episodes, I told you that when I first started as a signing agent, I told my good friend Jonathan about becoming a signing agent and everything involved because he was a notary. He told me about becoming a notary, and I told him about becoming a signing agent. The other person I told about becoming a signing agent was my brother Dale, and since then he made six figures as a signing agent. Started a signing service, making six figures as well. Here locally by me. So he's jumped in the back of the mobile office today to kind of give you guys some tips, more tips, how to become a peak signing agent. So Dale, maybe you want to give more quick, maybe your version of how you became a signing agent.
Well, like you said, you had told me about it. So when I looked into it, I already had a little bit of a background because I did real estate. And I already kind of knew the documents. So I was like, oh, this would be perfect. I could totally do this.
Easy transition.
Yeah, very easy transition. So picked up a package, kind of went through it with you a little bit, kind of refreshed my memory, and it just seemed really easy to me. Everything just, I understood the documents, and the things I didn't understand, it was just really easy to figure them out.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. I have multiple businesses, and for some reason, this business is my most successful. It's just clicked with me more than anything. It's the easiest in my brain to comprehend of how to run this type of a business for some reason. So thankful for it.
Yeah, it is. It really is. You can definitely, it's easy to grasp and easy to build.
So I know you've made the joke. Your company name is Little Valley Signings.
Yes.
Mine is Peak Signing, and if we ever combined forces, we would be called Peaks and Valleys.
Yeah.
You've had some peaks and valleys going in your career. So I remember you got your notary commission, but you couldn't become a signing agent.
Yes.
So talk about like that valley of it.
So that part was kind of a letdown at first because going through we already had our commission and everything, and then going, oh, okay, yeah, let's definitely get into this. You got into it. I get everything done, and the background check comes back, and I
red flag.
Yeah, couldn't pass it. Too many things in my past. But I know that everything was going to be dropping off in the next year. I had to, wait for that amount of time, and by the time that time came, it was a slow takeoff, but it was taking off from the time it started.
Okay.
And yeah, it was great. It was a great ride.
So were you like frustrated for that year because you were? I guess you were just doing other things in that year, and so during that time, what made you decide? Okay, I'm gonna go back. I think enough time has passed where I can maybe pass the background check. What made you decide? Okay, let me go back to try the signing agent world.
Things were picking up really high for you. Like you were having just a couple signings a day, I think, if that, and then all of a sudden you were just getting a lot of business.
Yeah.
And then I looked at that and was like, you know what? That's still more than what I'm doing now. So why am I not looking at this again?
You're like, if you can do it, I can do it.
Of course, but better. Just kidding. So I knew enough time had passed, and I went and took the test again, and then took the background check again, and it came back superb. Like I was an angel.
Now, originally, we were going to be a multifaceted business, if you remember.
Right.
So we were going to be not only notaries and signing agents, we were going to be bookkeepers and tax preparers, field inspectors. We're going to do this business. We're going to do all these different things. And all those things fell to the wayside. I mean, it just I guess for us, it just didn't make sense, or we didn't have a desire to do all the other things.
Yeah, the tax preparation part of things, after we got certified for that and going through that, I didn't want to do taxes.
Right.
I was like, this is no, none of this.
I mean, I had a pretty successful tax firm for about 2 or 3 years, and I also just let it go. I'm like, I have no desire for this. I mean, the only thing I liked about it was helping people not pay the government as much. That's the only thing I liked about it. I didn't like preparing taxes. I didn't like the whole process. Working with the IRS is not fun. So I also just like, okay, I gotta let this go. Also, at the time, I was just like, I'm just so busy with my loan signing service company. It just made no sense to continue hassling with the IRS. So we dropped everything. We dropped everything and then just opened up our separate companies, becoming signing service. So right out from the get-go, you started off as a business name. So if people were wondering, should I do it under my name or should I do it under a business name? Why did you decide to go under a business name right from the beginning?
Mainly because I felt it was more professional having a business name as a introduction more than just my name as my business name.
Okay.
It just, and then being able to grow off that as well. So, I mean, having a signing agency and calling it Dale's Signings, I mean, it just doesn't sound as good.
Yeah, true.
But Little Valley Signings sounds wonderful.
It does sound better. But you didn't go out and pay for an email address. You just took your company name and got a free like Gmail or Yahoo.
Oh yeah. Doing it that way was just, I might be getting a domain here soon and then just running it off of like littlevalleysignings.com, but as of now I'm running it through Gmail.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. I tell people too, like, you don't need. I tell people, have a professional email address. Definitely have a professional email address, but you do not need to go pay money to go get a domain unless you feel the necessity to do so, or get a handle, an @ business name, unless you feel like you need to. So yeah, that's exactly right. Now I know during COVID, so let's go back before that. You got started before COVID.
Yeah, just before COVID.
Yeah, so you were seeing success before the lowest interest rates in modern history. So you were seeing success already there. I know there was a point where you were like, hey, why am I not getting these opportunities? Why am I not seeing these things on SnapDocs? Maybe tell the people, what was it when then all of a sudden, boom, you started seeing all these signings start coming towards you?
Well, being brand new, the higher seniority people are going to get the signings before you, and it's going to trickle down. And
I wouldn't say higher seniority, just maybe more experience.
More experience. Yeah, that sounds better. More experience, and the work you've done proves itself, and you get higher up in the priority list. And so being brand new, I wasn't seeing these things. Being next to you and seeing your phone blow up, and I'm like waiting for it, and it's taking maybe 8 minutes, 10 minutes before my phone goes off.
For the same signing
for the exact same signing.
I neglected.
Yes. And then I'll take it. But things, interest rates started dropping, and then things were picking up. But actually, I was, I was getting some here and there, and then was getting phone calls from other places to handle some signings for them. And then I started getting pretty busy where I was handling, 3-4 signings a day, which was, starting brand new. This was amazing. I was bringing in like $300-400 a day just starting out. And I mean, this was a significant increase in what I was used to.
Right. Yeah.
So I was loving it, and it was just kept getting better from there.
And I was telling you, I'm like, just wait. Once you get to like 100 signings through SnapDocs, the floodgates will open up, and you'll get a lot more opportunities coming your way. And you kind of notice that, right? Like as soon as you get like 100.
Yeah, that's what it was. About 100 signings through SnapDocs, and then I was just getting hit up left and right, and I was almost I think about that time we were getting blown up about the same time. I'm like,
we'd be together. We get the same notification versus you get it 10 minutes after I got it. Yeah.
Right.
That's what it was. Some of these signing services or platforms, I should say, for example, on SnapDocs, they want to see your experience. So you're not going to get, and I think it's the companies. The companies have a, kind of built in where, like, hey, don't even offer this to anyone that has less than 100 signings. I think that's what it is. I'm not 100%, but that's my guess. And then once you get to 100, then all of a sudden, boom, the floodgates open. Now you're allowed to be asked by every company on that platform. So I think that's kind of how it works. So just as tips, if you're brand new and you're thinking, oh, why am I not getting as many opportunities coming my way? Just realize it's a process, right? It just takes some time to get there.
And signing up on multiple platforms helps too. So, I mean, it wasn't just SnapDocs I was doing signings for. So getting that 100 signings on SnapDocs took a while, even though I had already done hundreds of signings by then.
Right. That's exactly right. So what you're saying is don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Like just be diversified with all the signing services that you can sign up with.
Exactly.
Now, then COVID hit. Obviously, the lowest interest rates we've ever seen. Refinancing went through the roof. How did that affect your business?
That made my business blow up. It was because of that. I pretty much was primarily doing refinances. I was turning down, and that's when I started going direct as well. And one title company I was doing probably 10 to 15 signings with them a day between what I was doing and what I was setting out to other notaries.
Throughout the country or whatever.
Yeah, well, actually, this was just local at
first.
first.
Just local, okay.
Yeah, this was just local at first, and then they started letting me handle the ones out of state after a little, after a few months of that, they started trusting me with handling more out of state, and then
okay. Let's talk about that process then. First of all, how did you get this one client?
They actually reached out to me, and because things were so busy, the notaries that they had already, on their list of notaries in the area were too busy to handle anymore. So they found me and contacted me, and I was starting to handle things for them.
Do you by chance know where they found you?
On one of like Notary Go or 123 Notary,
okay,
or one of these.
So they probably had a signing coming up, and the next one they had coming up, you just happened to pop up because maybe you were near that first one that reached out to you.
Because when I was first doing signings for them, they had me in just a section of the county. I pretty much handled just the south end of the county, and then as COVID hit and the other agents that they had didn't want to do signings anymore
because of COVID. Okay.
They started having me cover their area, and I was doing so many for them that I was just like, yeah, just send them all to me. And then I was able to because once they let me know that I could kind of coordinate the times myself, because I was so bombarded, I had 5 different appointments all wanting 5 p.m.
Right.
Sorry guys, that can't happen. So I was able
move one more to 6, maybe 1 to 4.
But by doing so many, I was increasing my speed. I was getting
your signing speed.
My signing speed was immaculate.
So what would become your average time with a signing?
If I wasn't out of the house within 25 minutes, I was getting really antsy.
And now, during your signings, are you like, okay, just sign here, just sign here, just sign here?
No, I break it down to them.
So you break it down to them?
I explain the page to them as I'm pulling it out and handing it to them. And especially if especially if they used one lender, the title company, all the paperwork was the same. All the orders were the same, and I had it memorized in my head which was coming next.
Exactly. So, because some people ask me, like, what's your average signing time? And mine's about 20 minutes is my average time. And it's because of all my direct clients, they have a lot of the same lenders. And it's
once you see what the lender is, you know what's coming next. Like, I have probably like 5 different lenders packages memorized in my head.
Yeah. And I've also learned, like, what are more people interested in? Exactly. As they look at the note, what are they most interested in the note? So I'm gonna point out the key things that will, and mostly in the note, for example, it's bold. But I'm like, here's the key parts of the note.
Well, exactly. So when it comes to the note, I've already explained everything else a part of the note by the time we get to the note, or I will be explaining other parts when we get to like the CD and other things like that. So when I show them the note, pretty much I'm just explaining, they already know what a note is, especially in a refinance. So I just say, okay, here's your note, your promise to pay. And the biggest thing that they're interested in on that page is their first payment date. So I'll let them know, okay, this is your note, your promise to pay, and here's your first payment is due September 1st. And then show them where to sign. And usually there's no dates on there. So when I tell them to sign, I let them know, don't you dare date that.
Now, as you've so what I understand is, all right. So you got with one customer, and I even told you, like, you should talk to them about like expand, like taking all their signings and doing everything for them. Because I think I said, because if you don't do it, I'm going to do it. Transitioning into the signing service now, you've helped them find notaries all over the country, and you require scan backs. As you review scan backs, what are some of the most common mistakes you're seeing? And maybe not even during the signing, maybe not even during the scan backs. Just what are some of the most common mistakes you're seeing from notaries?
First, let's start from the beginning of calling a notary.
Okay.
Biggest mistakes I get on that part is just people not answering their phones. That part, or people not having a voicemail set up to even leave a voicemail or introduce yourself to know that I even have the right phone number.
I know you didn't listen to it. My last episode was on phone etiquette, and that was one of the things, like, why do you not have a voicemail? Let people know that they called the right person.
Right. So, I mean, if you're trying to be successful in this business, you have to be available. You have to answer your phone. I'll be in a signing, and if my phone's ringing and I know it's for a signing, I let the clients know, I need to take this call real quick. I'll explain in the next page. While you sign this, I just need to get this for a second, and then I'll hang it back up. We'll continue. I'll just make sure I'm available. Let's see what that call is about. Let them know I'll call them right back as soon as I'm done with the signing. If they know I'm in a signing, they're going to understand and be like, yes, get back to that, and call us right back.
Okay.
That lets them know I'm available, but I'm also, taking care of business. So
you do like a quick answer while they're signing.
Yes.
A page. Okay.
Yeah, but I let them know that I am in a signing so that they, don't try to talk my ear off about what's going on, so they can just be quick. Okay, this is what's going on, and then call us back.
Okay. All right. What else? What other errors are you seeing from notaries?
Just sometimes just not reading the instructions in the email that I send them. So when it like a simple thing, and most pretty much around the board, is use blue ink. And
okay.
I'll get a scan back and it's black. I'm like, why did you do that?
Wow.
And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's right here. The second sentence I sent to you was to sign in blue. And they're like, oh no, I'll go get that corrected. And they'll go back and get it re-signed. Or they put dates where dates aren't required.
Like the note you just mentioned. Yeah.
That happens a lot.
That's interesting. Yeah, if there's no date on the note, and 99.9% of the notes will not have a date, do not have it dated.
Right. When it requires a date, it will say to put the date. So I get that a lot. Missed initials.
Oh, okay.
So whenever you get the notes or the deeds of trust or the mortgages that require initials on the bottom, then those get missed sometimes.
I mean, it is not common, but sometimes they're there.
Then there's the entire notarization just gets missed completely sometimes.
Oh.
So like a lot of the compliance agreements, sometimes depending on the lender, it'll be worded small on the bottom, and things won't be underlined or things like that kind of stand out. But it still has the verbiage that needs to be notarized.
I was just going to ask you, is it the error and omissions compliance agreement? And so you
Yes.
just said it before. Yeah. That is the most common missed one that I see as well. I don't know why.
Like I said, it's the wording on the bottom that's smaller, and there's not bolds, there's not underlines. So it's easy to overlook. But if you're paying attention, you should see it.
Right. Okay, good one. So people dating where they shouldn't be dating, missing notary blocks, anything
Initials.
else? Oh, not initialing notes or deeds when it's listed at in the bottom right. Any other common errors or mistakes you're seeing?
Not correcting the state and counties.
Oh, so they're leaving the venue, whatever was pre-printed already, not for where
Yes.
their state. Okay.
Yep, seeing that not corrected and going, okay, you aren't signing in this state. You're clearly in this in this state. This needs to be corrected.
Yeah.
What else? Sometimes the dates. Sometimes the dates are pre-printed wrong, and those need to be corrected. Sometimes some people just don't bother looking at that and don't correct that.
Okay. All right. And do you always require scan backs from notaries?
No.
Okay.
Some I did in the beginning, and then if I'm talking to somebody and then they don't seem to, if I've already hired them and they've already, they're showing signs of not understanding things, then I'll ask them to do scan backs.
Oh, okay. So you're vetting them. You're calling them beforehand, talking to them, and if you do kind of feel like they don't have maybe confidence as they speak,
Yes.
you're like, okay, do some scan backs for me when you're done.
Yeah, well, like, I tell them to ask me any questions you have, because I want to make sure that you do it correctly.
Right. Right.
So don't be afraid to ask me. But, some of the questions that I get asked are very, like, basic notary knowledge.
Like Notary 101.
Yes, like you should know this before becoming a signing agent.
Yeah.
And
So, like, whose name goes on this line? My name or the signer's name?
yeah,
Something
so
like that.
sometimes that I'm just like, wait a minute. Why I'll give you the answer so you know this, but in my head I'm thinking, okay, that's not okay that you do not know this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's when I'll be like, okay, I am gonna need scan backs for this, or being an out of state, what's it called, a second home or a investment property. Sorry, like those always require a scan back.
Oh, okay.
So on those, yeah, I'm gonna require scan backs for sure, no matter what.
Okay, that makes sense. If someone was gonna if a brand new notary came up to you, or let's just say somebody brand new said, "Hey, I'm thinking about becoming a signing agent, or I'm gonna get my notary commission, or I am a notary and I won't become a signing agent." Like, what's maybe like a tip? And I know that's happened, and this is definitely has happened to you, because you've actually had people ride along with you and done trainings with some local notaries here to become signing agents. What is maybe some tips that you give somebody brand new?
Well, first off, I'll ask them, okay, well, how's the last 10 years of your life been?
Why is that?
So can you pass a background check? So
Makes sense for you. Yeah.
So first thing, if they're asking about that, yeah, you want to make sure that, okay, can you pass a 10-year background check? And then from that point on, okay, this is kind of what the business entails. Like, how are you with speaking to people? How are you with presenting yourself? How are you with multitasking and having a lot on your plate? Some people can't handle it. Some people will only do like 2 signings a day, and that's all they want to do. But that you won't be successful in that.
Yeah. So your question is like, how are your people skills and communication? Because like you said, you make phone calls, no one answers, or they'll call you, notaries will call you with questions, or as you're vetting them, you're just like, oh,
and you're gonna have to leave a lot of voicemails, and when it comes to this, and talking to a lot of people and making calls to phone numbers that might not be the right number. So there's gonna be times like that. So you have to know how, people, are they good at communication as well? I think communication is one of the biggest parts of this business, and not a lot of people communicate.
Yeah.
When it comes to real estate agents, loan officers, title, and a lot of people aren't in the loop. And I feel like sometimes in some of the closings, when it comes to the documents not being ready or what's happening, I feel like I'm the communication link between everybody sometimes.
Yeah.
But that's good for everybody, because everybody feels involved in it, and everyone knows what's happening.
I did another episode called "You Can Never Over Communicate."
Yeah.
You'd agree with that, right?
Yeah. So when, I'll tell people, notaries, to let me know when it's been confirmed and things like that. And when notaries let me know, hey, I'm on my way to the signing, hey, I just arrived to the signing, things like that, I am totally fine with it. I would like to get those notifications. I like getting the communication of what's happening.
Yeah.
So communication is key. And I hate it when it's been, 2.5 hours after the signing and I haven't heard from the agent.
Right.
And so I'm reaching out to them going, what's happening? And they're like, oh, it got moved to a later time. I'm like, okay, well, where's the communication?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Or, oh yeah, it's been done for like an hour now. I'm like,
wish I would have known.
Yeah. Well, in the instructions I sent you, it tells you to let me know when you're finished and send me a picture of their IDs. Where is it?
Yeah. So what you're saying is, communicate. So communicate, talk confidently. Don't make errors. What else? What are some other key points that you're telling people that we're missing for people to hear on this episode?
Let's see, what else is there? Be on time. Know how to manage your time. Time management and getting to places when you say you are, or if things happen and you're going to be late, communication again. But being able to handle your time and know how to stagger your signings, and knowing where from getting from one place to the other, how long that's going to be, to kind of put that in your time frame too. So knowing how to manage your time is a big thing. Awesome.
Well, before we wrap up, take a few more minutes to just tell everyone and brag about how I've changed your life for the positive. And just kidding. No, great. Dale, thanks again for coming on and sharing these tips. A lot of these tips that you just gave, also I've talked about in other episodes. So that just tells you, if you hear 2 signing service owners, 2 6-figure signing service owners tell you the same thing, it might be important to write down. All right, it might be a good tip for you to become a peak signing agent. Thanks again, Dale, for coming on. Thanks everyone for watching and listening to another episode. Real quick, if anyone is watching on YouTube, you can see, Dale, you've got like a sleeve. You've got one arm is totally tattooed up with a sleeve. Has that affected you at all in any way as well?
No, it has not affected my business.
So signers don't get scared. They see this big, strong guy with tattoos on his arm.
No, they just become talking points.
People so it's like
want to know background behind what.
So it's an icebreaker a little bit. Like, hey,
yeah,
what's on your arm there?
Yeah, it is. And
okay.
It's just just something to talk about. But people always remember me by like my car and my tattoos.
Okay.
So, like if I go to the same signing twice and I'm at their house again, because people during the pandemic, they refied 3 times, at least 2 to 3 times. So I was seeing the same people, and they were like, "Oh, hey, it's you with the Tesla and the tattoos. I remember you." Or I'll be driving and people will wave me down, and they're like, "Hey, how's fishing been?" Because during the signing they're talking about fishing and stuff, and that's one of my passions. So we'll talk about fishing, and yeah, they'll remember that. And they'll wave me down on the road because they recognize my car.
That's funny. I mean, you brought up another point. You drive a Tesla.
Yes.
So it's electric. I know a lot of people now with higher gas prices are wondering, should I go electric? How has that been for you and your business? Like I've
saved thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on gas.
Okay.
I bought it before gas prices inflated, and I was already spending $600-ish a month in gas, and my electricity bill has only gone up by $100.
Oh,
and
okay.
inflation has gone up in gasoline by a lot.
Yes.
So the $600 a month I was spending probably doubled.
Right, with the gas prices. So if anyone's like, "Hey, should I go Tesla? Should I go electric?" You'd be like, "Yes."
Yeah, and I mean, I was doing multi-counties, 10 signing plus a day, and sometimes when I'd come home to reprint or print more documents or anything like that, I would just charge here at home, and then I would hardly ever have to use a supercharger. And
okay.
Like I said, multi-counties, 8-10 plus signings a day, and came home
good enough battery.
Home with like 8% battery, and like, this is perfect.
Makes sense. All right, thanks again, and thanks to you guys for watching, listening. Talk to you on the next episode. Bye now.